We now start with the merits of the socialistic economy. Now, let us first recall what is a socialistic economy. A socialistic economy is one in which the factors of production are owned by the government. Okay? That means all productive resources are owned by the government and their main stress is on social welfare. All goods are manufactured by the government and they basically lay stress on social welfare. The merits of socialistic economy, the first one is there is better allocation of resources. Okay, now here there is one production authority, production company. There is only one production central planning unit who decides what is to be produced. They study the demand of the products in the market and accordingly resources are allocated for production of those goods which have a demand in the market. Okay. While production is determined, first thing is kept in mind, that is social welfare, benefit of everybody. Second thing, luxuries will never be produced at the cost of the necessary products, as it happens in case of a capitalistic economy. In order to earn higher profits, the sellers starts manufacturing luxury goods because they can be sold at a higher price. Here, nothing as such will happen because the objective is social welfare. Thirdly, these in socialistic economy, there is only one seller, one manufacturer, the government. Hence, there is not much competition. There is not a fight among the people regarding who can sell his products. There will not be overproduction because everything is studied. One central authority is there. They decide what is to be produced and how much is to be produced. Hence, there won't be any surplus production also. And since there is no competition, money is not wasted on unnecessary things like advertisement. Okay, in a capitalistic economy, people try to attract customers to their products, so they spend huge amounts of money on advertisement, thus hampering the quality of the goods they are manufacturing. But in a socialistic economy, motive is welfare, so they try to produce the best quality products and spend no money or waste no money on advertisements. Moving on to the next merit. There is always a fuller utilization of resource in a socialistic economy because the resources are limited and are in the hands of one particular organized unit. So in central planning authority, they determine how much goods are to be of different type are to be manufactured. Okay, they make sure that all the resources are properly and fully used. Hence, there is no underutilization of resources. Then, naturally, there will be no economic instability in the form of overproduction or underproduction or booms and depressions because there is only one production authority who will calculate the demand and manufacture accordingly. There is equitable distribution of income among the people because nobody is the entrepreneur. Everybody is a worker under the government. So according to the work they do, they are provided money. Okay, that means all of them earn nearly the same amount of money. Since they earn the same amount of money, there is no difference in the economy like rich people or poor people. There is no inequality in the distribution of income. Hence, there is no class struggle also. In fact, there are no classes. Rich and poor class does not exist. Okay, then the government itself takes care of the social security of the people of the country. Like social security means securing them for their future. Education, health facility, pension is provided to those who have retired. Provident fund is provided to those people who are unable to work. Accident insurance, unemployment insurance, housing facility, etc. provided by the government. That means the entire security is in the hands of the government. Then there is an increase in the productive efficiency of the workers. Why? Because everybody gets a chance to do the work he wants to. Okay, there is equal opportunity for all. There is no exploitation. All are provided jobs. all are given security, there is no exploitation. So since there is no exploitation, everybody is motivated to work more and more. Okay, hence resources can be allocated in a better way, and if resources are allocated in a better way, there will be an increase in the productive efficiency of the country. Then moving on to the next point, there will be rapid economic growth in the country. Okay, rapid economic growth means increase in the income of the people somehow. How? Okay, now look, there is only one central planning authority who has full control over the allocation of resources. The resources are diverted in such a way that goods which are needed by the people are produced, goods which are not needed by the people are not produced. Okay, the central authority has all the money. They determine how much money will be saved, how much money will be invested, and how much money will be spent on consumption. As a result, a large amount of funds can be saved back by the country because there is no waste of money. Since a large amount of money stays back for new technologies research can be carried on by which new technology can be adopted. Last one comes, there is more production of necessities and social goods. Luxuries are not considered important by the government, hence there is more production of necessary goods and goods of need for the entire society, which are also known as social goods. Then moving on to the demerits of the socialistic economy. First, proper allocation of resources which we have talked about can also be objected because rational allocation of resources, there will be a lot of difficulties faced in rational allocation of resources because the objective is social welfare. Okay, so a resource will be used to manufacture a good which will provide less profits. Can that be considered as rational? Because it will not help in increasing the capital formation of the country. More has to be earned in order to be for capital formation to be there. Here, since more cannot be earned, capital formation also becomes difficult. Then there is loss of efficiency because people know that they will be employed by the government because government's motive is welfare. They don't get a part of the profits. So how hard they work, they will get their salary. Hence, they lose an incentive or the motivation to work hard and earn more. Secondly, again, since they don't get a part of the profit, they are not interested in innovating any new methods of production. They continue with the old methods of production. And everything is in the hands of the government, and the government is managed by a few ministers. Then comes, there is loss of incentive. No profit. Profit is a incentive to continue production in case of a capitalistic economy. Hence, nobody is getting profits. How much they work, they get their salary. Hence, they have to be pushed to work. There's nobody to judge what they are doing. There's nobody to see how much work they are doing. And even if they are working, they earn more, they save more, they cannot inherit property, they cannot have private property. That means they cannot pass on the property to their children. So whatever they are earning, they earn just enough for their present needs. Why to save? Because that money cannot be transferred to his inheritance. There is loss of consumer sovereignty because people cannot consume whatever they want to. They have to consume what government is manufacturing. Say pens. As we get a variety of pens, we can choose what pen to use. Nothing as such happens in case of a capitalistic, socialistic economy. One variety or two varieties will be produced and people will be forced to purchase those goods manufactured by the government. Hence, there is a loss of consumers' sovereignty. Then, there is a loss of freedom of the people who are working also. They have to work under the government. They cannot set up their own enterprises. They have to work under, they cannot decide what occupation they will choose. They have to work under somebody else. Okay, the only option for them is to become a labor. So they lose their freedom of occupation. Next comes, there is concentration of economic and political power in one hand, and that hand is the government. We say there is no monopoly, but actually there is existence of monopoly in the hands of the government, and the government is handled by a set of ministers. And the last demerit of this system is there are loopholes in the planning process. The planning is done by one central authority. In case they are unable to receive proper or correct information about the resources in the country, they cannot plan out properly. In case they do not receive correct information regarding the demand of the people, needs of the people, they cannot plan out properly. And there is only one central authority which does everything, which makes it difficult for them to work out efficiently.